Revelations of ancient Chinese mystics for healthy, happy, and prosperous living. One of the greatest revelations to come from the Far East is that of the Chinese mystic and philosopher, Confucius. He advised emperors and political leaders, and he formulated a system of codes and ethics, which applied to the 20th century as much as they did to his era. Confucius was born in China in 551 BC, and his true name was Kengqi. He was a contemporary of Lao Tse, and later his disciple was to set forth his own wonderful philosophy in what is called the pathway to heaven. Confucius ushered in the golden age of philosophy. It is interesting for a student of mysticism to note that in the golden age of philosophy, when Confucius and Lao Tse were giving their mystical truths to China, at the same time in history, the Buddha was revealing his noble eightfold path in India. And in ancient Greece, Pythagoras and Socrates had already appeared and were spreading their brilliant philosophy to the Greeks. Confucius did not teach a religion as much as a system of philosophy and social progress, which could bring order out of chaos and show mankind how to control his natural war-making and animalistic propensities and desires. He taught that man can make a paradise of this earth if he can bring an orderly system of thinking and acting in relation to the world in which he lives. Confucius taught that life is in a constant state of flux or change. You cannot hold onto any experience, person, situation, or thing to achieve happiness. You cannot strive to achieve permanency in any relationship in life. You cannot think of any job as being permanent, any marriage as static, any family remaining unbroken, any wealth as secure, or any throne of power as eternal. Yin-yang principles for perfect balance in life. Once you accept this basic idea of eternal change, you will learn to be in a state of balance between the inner and the outer forces of life. This is called, in mystic philosophy, the balance between yin and yang, the two opposing forces in the universe, good and bad, health and sickness, riches and poverty, light and darkness. When this balance is disturbed, the individual is thrown out of tune with the cosmic forces of life and suffers every known type of misfortune and tragedy. Eradicate the 15 sources of trouble and find fulfillment. Confucius taught that there are 15 main sources of trouble. When these forces of negativity are permitted to rule a person's life, he is robbed of peace of mind, happiness, health, and prosperity. Confucius then indicated a way for overcoming these 15 sources of trouble. It is by ascending the 12 steps up the golden ladder to the pathway to heaven that one finds ultimate peace and security in life. The 15 sources of trouble. 1. Selfishness. 2. Greed. 3. Uncontrolled appetites and desires. 4. False pride. 5. Hate. 6. Intolerance. 7. Envy. 8. Bad habits, such as smoking, drinking, and dope addiction. 9. Dishonesty. 10. Living in the future or the past. 11. Miserliness. 12. Extravagance, living beyond one's means. 13. Cruelty. 14. Injustice. 15. Materialism or lack of spirituality. Take the 12 mystical steps up the golden ladder for heavenly rewards now. 1. First, reason out the causes of your unhappiness. Most people are unhappy because of something they want that they cannot have. This can be the result of a lack of money, which makes it impossible to buy a new house, a car, furnishings, jewelry, furs, and expensive clothes. If this is the cause of your unhappiness, realize that even millionaires have their worries and problems. If the source of your troubles is romantic or marital unhappiness, reason out why it is that you cannot get along with your romantic partner. Then do something to change yourself or the situation. Is your unhappiness due to the wrong work? If your unhappiness is the result of the wrong work, then you can do one of two things: give up that work and find something else, or study and prepare yourself for a new type of work where you will be happier. Do not let lack of money be a source of your unhappiness, for even the millionaire desires 2 million to back up his fortune. Use what you have wisely and avoid living beyond your means. Do not love money, but enjoy it and save part of your income for future security. In this way, you will never be discontented with your present financial situation, but you will constantly be striving to improve it so you may have eventual security. What you cannot change, learn to live with. 2. There are many things in life that we cannot change. For instance, you were born to a certain destiny because of your genetic programming. You could not choose your parents, so if you have some situation due to reasons of birth that makes you unhappy, and which you cannot change, learn to live with it. You may not be satisfied with the type of face or body nature gave you. Your mouth or nose may be too big. You may wish you could have been born to a rich family. This is not always a guarantee of happiness. Patricia Hearst was born to riches, but came into tragedy. Use whatever position of birth you have inherited as a stepping stone to greatness. George Washington Carver was born to slave parents in the South, but he did not let that limit him in his great accomplishments. He became one of the great scientists of the world and created more than 20 different articles from the lowly peanut, including paints, varnishes, food for cattle, insulation material, and other valuable products. Develop your mind to its fullest potentials. 3. Mind power rules the world. Realize that no matter what limitations you were born into, your mind can be developed to a point where you can rise above life's problems. Study throughout your life. If you were forced to stop school, continue with adult education in evening schools. Take books from the library on many different subjects. Learn a little about psychology, philosophy, science, history, mathematics, art, music, literature, industry, and geography. Gradually, as you develop your mind power, you will rise to your full potentials in life and finally achieve a very satisfactory destiny. Realize that all things are transient, so do not try to hold on to anything permanently. 4. How often people are made miserable because they find they cannot live in the same house forever, or keep their children young, or hold on to their looks, their youth, their fortune, or their work. Confucius taught that the only permanent thing we can depend on is change. Mystics from the Far East tell us that if the caterpillar stayed forever in the cocoon, it would never emerge as a beautiful butterfly. You are constantly evolving into higher stages of consciousness, so use each phase of your development as a necessary part of your spiritual progress and liberation from the earthbound self. Never let any emotion affect you so deeply that you are permanently scarred psychically. 5. All the great mystics taught that men must rise above the emotional realm into the realm of spirituality. If you let every passing wind of misfortune leave its scar on your psyche, you will soon find life burdensome and tortuous. Live fully in all the emotions of joy, love, optimism, hope, and goodness, but do not let your emotions get out of control. Testimony number 36. Uncontrolled emotions made Josephine A. A case that came to my attention where uncontrolled emotions made one mentally ill was that of Josephina. She was happily married for 15 years and had 2 fine growing children. Suddenly, she found out that her husband was being untrue to her. She went into such a rage that she took a butcher knife and tried to stab him. After that, revelations of ancient Chinese mystic, fell into uncontrollable grief, and finally became so melancholy that she had to be put into a mental hospital, where she remained for 6 months under treatment. When she discovered our work in mysticism, she came for counseling and lessons. She studied these teachings of the great Chinese mystic and applied them to her own life. Soon she gained an astonishing control of her mind and her nerves. She changed so dramatically that her family hardly knew her. Her mind was more peaceful and calm at all times. She still had many problems of adjusting to her new life, especially in finding a new romantic partner. But she never again let herself become so reactive to her life situations that she could not control her moods and emotions. Enjoy the things you now have, rather than make yourself miserable longing for the unattainable. 6. Many people today are miserable because of the things they desire that they may never be able to have. We are in an age where living standards are very high, and people can have color TV, home appliances that make housework easier, comfortable apartments and homes that are well lighted and heated, a car to get to work or pleasure. These things are mostly taken for granted. The people who are unhappy are those who want a bigger home, a more luxurious apartment, a more expensive car, and 2 or 3 television sets. Many times, when these things are not available on a grand scale, they become miserable. The way to handle this problem is to use and enjoy all the things you do have and not be unhappy because you do not have a big estate of your own, a mansion on Long Island, or a chauffeur-driven limousine. There is no harm in desiring these greater luxuries, but do not let that desire become a torment that keeps you from enjoying the comforts and benefits you now have. Live in the present instead of putting off living to the future. 7. A Latin proverb says, "Dum vivimus vivimus." Let us live while we live. Confucius was a great believer in organizing your life in such a way that you can enjoy every single day fully and without regrets. Do the best you can for this one day only. Be aware of the priceless privilege you have been given of having the gift of life. If you are healthy, sane, and able to enjoy this moment, you should never worry about the future, nor think that you are being deprived of anything by life. Testimony number 37. Mr. and Mrs. New Hampshire waited too long for their second honeymoon. I knew a couple, Mr. and Mrs. New Hampshire, who had worked hard all their lives to amass a fortune. They had never taken a trip abroad together. Their children had been reared and educated, and they finally had $250,000 invested in real estate in Los Angeles, California. This brought in a good income, and people kept telling them they should let down a little and enjoy life. But Mr. H kept saying, "No, we don't have enough money. When we have another $100,000, we'll take it easy and go on a second honeymoon around the world." One day, they sold a piece of property that brought them the extra $100,000. Now, Mr. N said, "We can take that trip around the world." That day, he bought the tickets, returned home, and told his wife they would begin their round-the-world trip on the following day. When his wife went to awaken him that morning, she found that he had died in his sleep. Never put off living and enjoying yourself until you have a better job, or until you move to a better home, or until your children are grown up and on their own. That day may never come. Live for today and don't worry about tomorrow. Build your mental garden where others can share your simple pleasures. 8. Many people are discontented because they are constantly searching in the outer world for pleasures and excitement. These people are on a constant round of external adventures, thinking they will find the elusive happiness for which they search. They frequent nightclubs, drink excessively, go on a constant round of cocktail parties and trips, thinking that by being busy, they are adding to their life enjoyment. Confucius taught that one must build his own mental garden where he can enjoy the simple pleasures of life with his family and friends. This idea was later adopted by the Grecian philosopher Epicurus. It is through the mind that we are able to experience life to the fullest and to enjoy living it. By building mental pleasures, things that are easy to satisfy, you can live a rich, full life and never feel lonely or deprived. Good books, art, and music give pleasure. Such mental pleasures consist in the appreciation of good books. A person who reads a great deal doubles and even triples his life experience. By sharing in the great thoughts and experiences of brilliant minds, you can expand the horizons of your own consciousness and have profound emotional experiences that enrich your life dramatically. You can also build your mental garden with thoughts of great philosophers like Confucius, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and weave into the fabric of your destiny some of the gold and silver threads that have illumined the tapestry of history. Great music can also be an enriching emotional experience. Study the lives of the great composers, know their music, and revel in the magnificent harmonies their souls have revealed. You will find music of all ages and all cultures beneficial, for it is not only stimulating to your higher mind, but it is soothing and healing in times of stress and turbulence. The art treasures of the world, paintings, sculpture, and architecture, can also be absorbed mentally to cushion you against the recurring shocks of ugliness and obscenity which we frequently find in modern life. You can obtain books which carry all of the world's great art treasures, and when your mind has been assaulted by the cacophony of ugliness to be found in much of everyday living, you can quietly retire into the inner garden of your mind and there absorb the highest standards of grandeur and beauty to be found in the world. Enjoy the beauty in nature and the changing seasons. 9. Confucius taught that man's soul must be attuned to natural beauty in the universe if it is to know peace and serenity. The great spiritual laws of the cosmos are all reflected in nature. When we study these phenomena through observing the miracles to be found in the world around us, we are better able to attune our minds, hearts, and souls to the natural rhythm of the universe and be in accord with the laws of balance, order, and harmony. Emerson said, "Throb thine own with nature's throbbing breast, and all is clear from east to west." Live in the world of natural splendor. Instead of seeking the artificial, man-made creations in the world that are subject to erosion and change, find your enjoyment by living a great deal in the world of natural splendor. Enjoy the forests, rivers, and mountains. See the majesty of trees reaching up towards the celestial heights, as though in perpetual prayer and adoration of the power that created them. Be aware of the multitudes of flowers that carpet the earth with their perfumed glory. Never let a day pass without giving thanks to God for the panorama of beauty that He has spread like a verdant carpet for you to walk upon. See the mystical wonder of a full moon spreading its silvery rays over the distant ocean, and the purple veil of night studded with billions of stars that share their mystery and wonder with earthlings. Be aware that you are riding on a carousel called Earth, spinning at dizzying speed around the golden sun, and that the divine laws holding this earth in space are the same ones that operate in your daily life to bring you health, happiness, and fulfillment. Life is a mystical adventure, and nature is the backdrop against which this great drama is being played out. So be aware of its infinite beauty and wonder during every day of your life. Pave your pathway to paradise with the golden dream of love's sweet ecstasy. 10. God has given man the divine emotion of love to help him cushion the shocks of daily realistic living. This golden dream has been placed within every human heart and soul. The reason it is so vitally important in finding the pathway to paradise is that love is God's dream for His creation. The poet Browning said, "Take away love and the earth is a tomb." Every great achievement by man has been motivated by this divine emotion of love. Try to find true love happiness early in life, and let it be more precious to you than gold, silver, or precious gems. To attract true love, there must be a high ideal within your own heart and soul of this ennoble emotion. Today, many people have forgotten this concept of love, leading lives of permissiveness and promiscuity that shatter the sacredness of marriage and the home and the value of human life. We must once again build these ideals of spiritual love if civilization is to survive the recurring cataclysms of war and bloodshed and violence. Use the mystical law of mental alchemy to change the negative conditions of life into positive ones. 11. The law of mental alchemy or transmutation is used by mystics to alter the chemistry of negative thinking and also to change the negative, unwanted, and disastrous experiences of life into spiritual values. When your mind sees evidences of perpetual disaster, disease, old age, war, death, and destruction, the chemistry of your mind and body are alchemically altered into patterns that bring sickness and unhappiness. How to use the law of mental alchemy to change your life. Sit quietly in meditation and use the law of mental alchemy by stating, "I now change the negative conditions of my life into positive, happy, healthy ones. I turn evil into good. I become loving and forgiving, and this dissolves hatred. I see only peace and concord in my life, and this banishes friction and discord. I recognize the divinity in others and remove inharmony. I see the world as being filled with treasures, and this changes my powers of attraction from poverty to riches. I recognize beauty all around me, and this banishes ugliness. I think healthy, happy, and loving thoughts, and this changes the chemistry of my body from acidity to alkalinity. Build mental and spiritual values, and rise above the materialistic realm to find true, lasting happiness. 12. The philosophy of materialism teaches that we must worship only physical and material things in this world. We make money our god. We live in the world of sensation and matter. We lose sight of the true, permanent, spiritual values that are behind life and upon which we must build if we wish to have lives of lasting and enduring success. Mystic philosophy shows us the inner path to the finding of peace and contentment. Each day, go into quiet meditation and survey the events of your life. Ask yourself these questions. Am I really enjoying life? Do I build something of value each day that will endure? Have I put money and material things in their proper place? Am I living to give something of value to my family and to the world? Am I enriching my life by enriching my mind with the spiritual treasures that endure, such as art, literature, music, poetry, and spiritual knowledge? Do I give daily thanks to God, the source of all my blessings? Do I express love daily to my family and my friends? Do all communicate with God through prayer and meditation, extolling daily His virtues and beneficence? Lao Tse's Pathway to Heaven. The poet and mystic Lao Tse was one of Confucius' students and added another dimension to the great philosopher's teachings. He showed one that the pathway to heaven or Tao could be easily achieved through the following method. 1. Be gentle as a child and oppose no one, but yield gracefully. A child is appealing because it is harmless, and everyone loves a child and wants to serve him. The Master Jesus also said, "Except ye become as a little child, ye shall not enter the kingdom of God." 2. A falling drop of water will gradually carve the hardest rock, Lao Tse taught. Water is the softest of all substances, but its persistent action will remove the hardest rock gradually. So too we must use gentle language and actions to gradually wear away the obdurate, opposing forces of life, not force or violence. 3. Live in the dream of love, and the harsh experiences of life cannot harm you. Hate destroys, and greed erodes. 4. Obey the cosmic laws of the universe and live under these moral, ethical, physical, and spiritual laws taught by all the great prophets, and life will flow smoothly and easily. 5. Attune your mind to the higher spiritual forces of the universe through daily prayer and meditation, and you will receive divine guidance to help you overcome life's problems. Mystomatic pointers. 1. Build your own mental and spiritual world, in which you can retire when misfortunes and tragedies strike. In this inner world, you will be fortified by the knowledge that all things are transient, and that this too shall pass away. 2. Never try to hold onto anything or any person permanently. Everything is in a state of flux, and new experiences can only come when we have released the old. 3. Curb your desires so that they do not get out of control. It is right to want the best that life has to offer, but do not let events make you unhappy if you cannot have everything you desire. 4. Enjoy all the good things of life and be happy in the knowledge that your destiny is already written in the stars, and you cannot be too early or too late in coming into that ultimate destiny. 5. Adopt the inscrutable oriental calm in which you do not register too much emotion at any time. Be peaceful in thought and present a personality of unruffled calm to the outer world. 6. Face both life and death with the knowledge that there is a divine plan to life, and that death is a rebirth into another dimension of time and space in which the soul shall know its rewards.